video is brought to you by lynda.com. So I just saw the announcement of Project Morpheus. It is Sony's foray into the world of virtual reality. We saw their prototype headset, which definitely shows that Sony is not just trying to make the technology, but trying to make something that has a sense of style to it. I think a lot of people who have seen the Oculus dev kits, it almost has kind of a brute, kind of, utilitarian look to it that's borderline, Cronenbergian. This at least had smooth lines. It's still a very, very large device. They're definitely taking it seriously, and one of the key things that Sony said is they're looking at this as a unique medium. It's not an enhancement to games. It's not a peripheral for games. And they went through some very fascinating details from their R&D people about the considerations that developers have to take into account when making something for virtual reality as opposed to a more traditional game that we play on our television. And that is creating a sense of space, creating a world that's believable, having graphics that are of a particular resolution and a very constant frame rate, as well as a very, very low latency, because you need to maintain that sense of illusion, and anything that breaks it will either throw the person out of the immersion, or more importantly, that's where the nausea and the upset stomach comes from, if the latency is low and if that frame rate is low. This is very good that they're quite open about it. They are showing this prototype with 1080p, though they may be trying to get it to a higher resolution. Nothing they said has actually been locked in. Additionally, they don't have a date yet, and they definitely don't have a price. This is something that they're offering up to the developers here at GDC to investigate so they can further understand where this needs to go before it actually comes to market. While I think this is very exciting, and my experiences with the Oculus have me increasingly as a believer in virtual reality, everything we're seeing, and I imagine the demos that they're showing here, which includes some sections from The Thief from Square Enix and the Valkyrie game, is can you make an entire game for this and it's actually cost effective? The amount of thought and care now into the graphics, into the frame rate, this is not something you can port an existing game very easily over to this device because there's so many other considerations to take place. Sony also stated that they're not considering currently sharing this API with other virtual reality headsets such as the Oculus Rift, and the cost considerations then become quite considerable. If you're a company that may be spending a lot of money in R&D just to get a game out, a full-size game, and you may have to do multiple iterations to handle all the different headsets out there, that may become so expensive that only a handful of companies would actually take the risk into something that may not be proven. We don't know how many people would be willing to buy an aftermarket add-on to the PlayStation 4 or even get something like an Oculus Rift. And with this much work that goes into making the games, I can understand and appreciate a level of caution. The other side of it is maybe we really need to rethink what these virtual reality games are going to be. Maybe they are more like a short burst game, like a dogfight, an Valkyrie, or something that's kind of a fun puzzle game. Nothing on the level of, say, a full-length God of War, despite the fact that they showed Shu Yoshida actually playing through some type of virtual reality God of War game. Very, very exciting, very, very interesting. I actually quite enjoyed the presentation because there was a frankness to it, and they made it clear that there is still a lot of uncertainties around how you handle this technology. That kind of honesty, it's also something that I find refreshing, but also it really piques the curiosity. I hope to be getting my hands on some of these demos very soon and let you know what I think about them, but I wanted to give you my initial thoughts after what obviously is a very important announcement. Virtual reality is now going to become a thing because a very, very big international company has decided to put their foot into this pool. So, virtual reality, it looks like we're on the cusp of it becoming a very big and potentially a widespread thing, but in the meantime, how about you do some learning so you can better appreciate that? And by doing that, try out lynda.com. Lynda.com is an online learning company that teaches software, creative, and business skills. You can learn anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can try lynda.com for free for 7 days by signing up at lynda.com/Rev3Games.